All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisanne, and I am very grateful and honored tonight to be hosting tonight's call for all of you. I've been part of this team for 5 years almost. And ever since the very first training call that I saw with Zach 5 years ago, I was like, this is for free every single week. It's like non-negotiable in my calendar. So I'm very grateful that I get to share my gifts and just nudges and all the goodness with you tonight. My name is Lisanne, like I just said, and I come from a background of, I'll just do briefly my story and then we'll dive in. I come from a background of always having been self-employed. So I've always been solopreneuring, figuring things out as I go, coming from like a dancing background, personal training, life coaching. I've done everything in the health and wellness industry that you can kind of imagine. And when I came to Isagenix, I was at a point where I wanted more income. I wanted to not be trading time for money anymore, but I also wanted more impact. I wanted to help more people, but I could only work so many hours in a day. And especially being self-employed, there is a lot of things that you do that you don't get paid for. And there's a lot of hustling and grinding, and I was exhausted. And I was just like, I have all these big visions and dreams, and I can't seem to get there on my own. So I was looking for a vehicle, not knowing that would be network marketing. And when Isagenix got presented to me, I was very skeptical and, lightly to say, very rejective for months on end. And it wasn't until an event that I went to that I was like, wait a minute. These people are making per week what I have a dream of making per month of income. So maybe this is worth me putting my skeptical ego, everything aside, and just having an open look at. And I was still skeptical of the products, but I was like 30-day money back guarantee. Let me just get started, see how it goes. Worst case, I send it back, get my money back. And of course, we know what happens. I came back to life. I always say I came out of a burnout that I didn't realize I was in. And I straight away got into the business because I was like, everyone deserves to at least know that this is available. And if they didn't get started or not, that's up to them. But I have a duty to tell people, because the only way people will know is me opening my mouth. And that's now almost been 5 years. And my story is not one of straight to the top. It's not one of struggle, and then straight to the top. It's been up and down and up and down. But that up and down and up and down has been a gradual going up. And that's kind of what I really wanted to share with you tonight, is how I stayed in the game for 5 years through a lot of life that just kept on lifing. And some of you will know, like, sometimes life hits you in the face with pretty intense stuff. And I've moved in the last few years through my own burnout, through loss, through grief, through so many turbulent times. But also in my business, the reality has been that I've had to rebuild, that I've had people leave, that I went all the way to the executive and all the way back down and all the way back up. And I had to harvest those lessons and turn them into gold to keep rising stronger and stronger and stronger, and create a compound effect that goes way beyond what you have physically in your cycles or in your bank account. A compound effect that is a thriving life. I have literally a thriving life in every single area right now. I have choice. I have time freedom. So there is many ways that we can win in this business that might not be instantly related to I'm top of the leaderboard, or I'm making all the money, I'm hitting all the bonuses. There's many gifts that are hidden here and available for us, and that we can start building and building and building upon, trusting that the right people will show up when you're ready to actually hold the business, hold the team, and to receive it and to grow it and not then lose it again. So I'll take you through some of these ideas and concepts and perspectives that have really supported me in staying in the game. And one of that is what I said, a thriving life all around is, for me, the way I approach this business is very much it's an all-round life thing. This is not just about replacing your income. It's not just about helping, like, whatever you want to create. It is an all-round life thing. It's who you become on this journey. And it's so much about actually being the person that goes to bed and is happy at night. Because if you are coming from a stressful job and then in isogenics, you start running to the top and you get stressed and you're frustrated, then you've literally just replaced. And I see that happen more often, that we're unhealthy before and then we get really healthy in the beginning with isogenics and then we reverse kind of back and we kind of just live still the same life. We've just replaced. And that's not what you came here for. So because yes, you can have all the money and all the success, but if you're unhappy or you're fighting with your partner all the time, then what's the point? So approaching this from an all-round perspective is constantly taking the learnings, constantly thinking of who can I become in this process? Where in my life can I fine-tune things that are not just related to the goals that I'm setting out or the mountain that I want to climb, whether that's an income goal or a rank or whatever it is. Because that rank or that money will mean nothing if you're miserable. And also, the moment you hit it, anyone that's ever hit an income goal or a rank or anything that you set out, or even just like something that you wanted to buy, and you hit it, literally that takes like, what is it, a few minutes, the hitting of it, the achieving of it. And then poof, that's gone. You've achieved it, you got it. And instantly our brain goes like, okay, now what? What's next? What's next? Which is natural and is very healthy because that means growth, evolution, and we keep reaching for our limits and our potential and we keep growing and expanding. But if that's what we're doing it for, then we're missing the whole thing in between, which is most of the time that we'll be spending. So can you be in the process who you want to become by the end of this? So if you came here for freedom, can you be freedom now? If you came here for more choice, can you create more choice in your life now? Because guess what? What you are, you attract. So for me, for example, my freedom is for me everything. So that means do not put me in a strict schedule. Do not expect me to be on a power hour 9 to 10 every single morning. I will go running for the hills. So I will not continuously build my business. So I will not have a compound effect. So I will not have growth, because that's for me, not what I desire deepest in my heart, and not is what going to fulfill me along the journey, which is most important. And that's the second part, is doing it uniquely to you. There's as many people building a network marketing business as there is a way to build this business. Yes, there is the network marketing principle. So in a foundation, in a structural thing, like the walls and the roof of a house, you need to have a door in the house, you need to have windows in the house. There's certain principles in network marketing that we got to stick to, because that's the business model. Is duplication, it's asking people to take a look, enrolling, rank advancing, all those things. But how you do that, that will be uniquely to you. For some people, the consistency thing is absolutely amazing. For other people, absolutely not. They have a different form of consistency. Some people are brilliant at cold market reach outs, other people, absolutely not. And you got to find your unique way of doing this within the principles and the structures. And something that I always keep finding is that the more me I am, the more successful I become. So the more I do things that actually really work for me. Some people work in the morning, other people work in the evening. Everyone is different. But the only way you're going to find that is through trial and error. And trying different things out. And not just as soon as you hear something because that person is successful, applying it. Because that might be working for them, but is it going to be working for you? So trying different things, absolutely. Sticking to the principles of network marketing, but also really getting to know yourself and allowing yourself to be more free and more expressive in who you are. And one of my favorite questions is in that is, if no one ever told you how this should be done, then how would you do it? If no one ever told you how to do a network marketing business, how to build this, how to all the things, what is your daily checklist? If no one ever told you anything, then how would you do it? And start imagining that. and then honoring the principles from network marketing, because if you throw those overboard, your business is not going to sustain. But there's a blend in between the both. And from there, what I just said was the trial and error. Failure is my greatest resource. And I'll explain what I mean with that, but it's a really important one. Failure is your greatest resource. And I'll tell you a story with that, because we're often so afraid of failing or reaching out and then not hearing back or whatever the case may be. And I had at a point worked together with the gym, and I worked very intensely with the gym. I did all the things I should not have done. I did all the work for them. I was dragging them. I was like investing so much time and energy. And it started going somewhere, but it wasn't really going anywhere. And at some point, things happened in there that made me leave, because I could not, from a principal perspective, I could no longer work with them. Just as a trainer within the gym. But that also meant that the whole site, which was my personal leg, which contributed to my cycles, collapsed. So cycles gone, people gone, everything gone. And I was like, what a waste of time. I invested so much. And maybe you felt that sometimes, where you're like, I invest so much. This is going to be my next big builder. This is going to happen. And I've given my everything and it's still not working. And we feel like we're failing or things are not working out. But then I was like, okay, I can see this as a waste of time and like it's not working, and I can blame the business and I can blame all the things and I can leave through the back door, or I can harvest this into gold. I can turn this into my greatest lesson, growth, and my greatest resource for becoming the leader that I need to be to attract the people that I do really want to work with. And that now to date is still my greatest lesson in business of my entire 12 years in entrepreneurship. Because I went and dissected that whole thing. I was like, what am I missing in my systems? Where am I losing people? Where are my conversations? Like, where am I kind of dragging people? What is wrong in my energy? Who do I need to become to attract different people? I had a tough look in the mirror. But because I was willing to do that, it wasn't a failure. It became my greatest lesson, so that later on, when the right people showed up, I was able to move them with speed. I was able to lead, empower them, all of the things that you want to do when you have the right people enter your business. But I would not have been there if I treated it as a failure, disappointed, I felt defeated, and maybe I would have even given up on my business. And a funny other thing in that is that one of the women that got enrolled in that gym, I built a friendship with. She was an amazing human. And then when collagen came out a year and a half later, she was like, I see myself doing the business in collagen. And then one customer that was still there turned into a business partner who enrolled more business partners, who enrolled more business partners, and incredible things happened from there. But failure has to become something that is our greatest resource and not something that we're afraid of. You want to fail because that gives you such information and data that will help you grow. And something that you need for that is staying power. Staying power is your ability to stay in the game. And staying power is those moments where it's really tough. That's when you stay. When you're having your partner and you guys are having a fight, you're having a confrontation, can you stay in the room? Can you stay in the conversation? Even when things are hard, even when your voice is shaking, you're crying, you're hurting, like whatever is going on, can you stay in the game? The same in your business. When things aren't going well, when people are complaining, things are happening, because it's life. Life will keep on lifing, both in life and in business. And those challenging times, your ability to then stay and not leave through the back door, that is everything. Because that's where your greatest growth is. That's where your greatest evolution is. I remember an event, it was not too long ago actually. And there's a lot of us around like that have been here from the beginning. I got enrolled by Esther and Tommy. Kelly, Saskia, like Michael, like I've been around all the people that are like doing the most incredible things in this business right now. And I've seen them grow, and it's just been the most amazing journey to witness everyone. And then there was another event. And then I ended up, after 5 years in business, being there by myself. I had no team with me. And that morning I was in it, felt defeated, disappointed. I didn't want to go anymore. I was a hot mess. And my boyfriend, he was like, well, then why go? Like, stay home. And I was like, no, because that would look like giving up. That resembles even the slightest percentage of giving up. And I don't do that. And that whole event, like nothing really life-changing happened there, but my ability to, when it was most inconvenient, when it was easiest to quit, when it was all the feels, and I still stayed in the game, I still kept going, I still went back into the room. That is what evolves your leadership. That's what evolves your growth. That makes you the person that can actually hold the success. That makes you the person that actually can hold the money, hold the team, hold the thriving life and relationship and health and family and all of the things, because you have the ability to be with hard things. This is not easy. It's simple, very simple business, but nothing in life that's really worth, like it's going to be tough. It's going to challenge you. It's going to require you to go to your edge and then go beyond that. So you got to have staying power. You got to have your failure as your greatest resource. You got to allow yourself to become more and more of you, and doing it and figuring it out as you go in your unique way. And you got to lead yourself first. Because everything changed in my business and all the amazing people started showing up when I decided to lead myself and go no matter who would come with me. I was not going to wait for anyone in my life. I decided that I will go and then the right people will show up. So I started leading myself. And how do you do that? You become your own best client, your own best customer, your own best coach, your own best mentor. You become your own best business partner and teammate. If you want your business partners and your team members to do their daily income producing activities, can you lead yourself to doing those? Because you cannot lead a team until you're actually able to lead yourself. In those hard moments, in the things when it's not working, in when it's you're ill, kids are crying, things are happening, can you then coach yourself through? Can you then lead yourself and remind yourself of why you started, where you're going, what you desire? When you're having a bad day or when you're having a bad week, can you lead yourself through it? Can you support yourself? You have to lead yourself first. And part of that also is insourcing. And that's a weird word, but it's not outsourcing your power. It is not always asking people for the flyers or who can make this PowerPoint, or outsourcing in the sense of like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? It's like, actually, can I source my solutions from within? Actually, I'm looking for something. Let me Google it, see if I can find it first before I ask my coach. That's you leading yourself. Okay, I'm struggling with this. I'm feeling disappointed. I'm having a bad day. I'm not in a good mood. I'm not in a good energy. Instead of needing someone else to fix your mood, or music or a motivational video or another training to pep you up and get you motivated for the week again, can you source that from within? And that requires you to actually spend some time with yourself, which most of us have learned to run away from. The deepest, most beautiful, amazing lessons that you will learn in this business is when you start spending more time in here. Instead of actually dissecting and looking at, like, what are my thought processes here? I keep being afraid to follow up. What is underneath that? and start that inquiry. That's how you coach yourself. That's how you learn to lead yourself. And then the amazing thing is, people show up and then you can lead them. And you can pass on the gifts that you've learned from your own personal journey. And in that, not just your business starts changing, but your entire life starts changing. How you relate to life, how you view life. I see silver linings and gifts and positivity everywhere. Not because that's my natural state, because I've taught myself that and I've become that person. Literally, life can throw any storm at me right now and I'll walk right through it because of who I have become, which is priceless. And then the money is the cherry on top. The success is the cherry on top. One of my mentors once told me, he was like, Lisanne, figure out how to be happy first so that when the money comes, you don't have to figure that out anymore. So it's personal freedom, personal leadership, and that will ripple out into every other area of your life. Another one in that, I've got two more. We're almost there. Live the story the way you want to tell it in hindsight. From the get-go in this business, every challenge, everything that would happen in my life, in my business, in anywhere, I was like, how will I tell this story one day on stage? When I am speaking to someone that goes through the same thing years from now, when I'm standing on stage in front of a group of people, when I'm hosting trainings like these, when I'm in these positions, and I'm going to tell the story of how I came from where I was to where I am now, and I'm going to tell the story. How do I then want to tell the story? So when challenges hit you, when things are tough, when life happens, it really, really matters who you then be in that moment, how you lead yourself through, how you navigate things, more than just surviving a terrible time in your life, because unfortunately, we will all go through very tough seasons in our life. It's part of life. But how you move through that, you have a choice in what story you write in the living of it. So in the building of your business, you're writing the story of your business. How do you want to tell that story looking back years from now? So every single time, and it happens in personal life as well. I had a very challenging week this week. Deeply, deeply personal, close to me, things happened that was like complete out of nowhere, unexpected. And I was like, how do I move through this? How do I lead through this? No one really knows. No one needs to know because it all happens behind closed doors. But one day, that story and how I move through it will become a very, very valuable, beautiful thing that I can pass on and give to others, that it becomes way more meaningful than just surviving that moment. So live the story the way you want to tell it in hindsight, whether it is just with a friend later on, or you will be on stage in front of thousands of people. Imagine becoming like the most greatest success story, earning millions, being on stage. What will your story be? You write it right now. You write it on these calls, on your Monday morning, on the follow-ups that you do not want to do, on that post that you were too afraid to do. The question of, we're going to go live on Facebook and why am I not? What story do you want to tell? You choose and you write that story. And the last thing that brings everything together is the compound effect in a bigger, more wider context than the way we tend to hear it. We often talk about like the compound effect as in the numbers. So if I ask every day one person to take a look, I've done 7, and it starts compounding, and at some point more people start saying yes, or however many it may be. And our cycles like compound and exponential growth. 2 becomes 4, becomes 8, etc. But compounding also happens in your lessons, in the moments in between, in the growth, in the journey, in your skills. you start building and stacking that up. So when I'm having a season of growth in my business, and at some point I had like a few months where I couldn't work and I felt like my business was going backwards, who I became in those few months and the growth and the learning and everything that happened there allowed me to put that on top of the business skills that I already had, which made me even more powerful. Because now I had the business skills and I had the life skills. And then I start building up leadership skills. And you start compounding your growth, your evolution. But we also can compound other things in our business, like social media content. If I write one great, amazing post every single week, and I'm intentional with that, at the end of the year, let's say I do 50 posts, I have 50 amazing posts that I've written from my unique expression. Because the more me I become, the more successful I get. At the end of the year, 50 amazing posts. What does Facebook memories do every single day? Is remind you in your memories what you've posted last year. So those 50 posts I can use next year. And if I do again, one great post a week, like really well written, that is my message to the world. Then after a year of 50 posts, I have 2 great posts a week, and I can keep compounding that. So my content is intentional, it's purposeful. I just don't throw things on social media knowing that in 24 hours, no one will care about it anymore. Like that's like superficial nothingness. Like there's fluff of that, but there's also intentional things and work that I create that I build on top. Systems that I build on top. We have Our Easy training. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm missing something. Or as soon as I get asked something 2 or 3 times, I'm like, can I create a resource for this? In Dutch, we have the Healthy Change group, like our customer group. In English, it's like Easy Product Lifestyle Coaching. Every time that you get asked something 2, 3 times, can you create a resource to put in that group so that next time you get it asked again, you can tag someone? So you don't have to find the answer anymore. You don't have to research things anymore. And you start compounding resources that we can reuse. We have all these incredible trainings from 5 years. When someone asks me something, I send a training. And we keep compounding and growing so that more and more time, over time, we create more and more time and more freedom and more choice. It is not just in the asking and the conversations, it is all the different parts of business that we can start compounding. And in that, one of the things that we talk about often, and it's the last thing that I'll close off with, is like you got to do your things every day, right? We got to plant the seeds, we got to water the seeds, we got to give them sunshine. And it's all the doing. And we start asking people to take a look. We post on social media, we follow up, we do all the things. But there's a big part that is also giving that seed time and space to sprout and to actually grow. Because if you plant a seed or you plant all the seeds, you're going to suffocate the soil. If you plant the seeds and you water them all day, every day, and you check if you can get carrots already and you can harvest fruit, you can literally drown the seeds because you're giving it so much water. So one of the things in my business that I'm very big on is the doing and the being. The asking people to take a look and then stepping back and then letting them come to me and respond. I'll send people a link and then I trust their genius and their power and the ability as adults to choose their own transformation and to come into my world. So I'm out there, I'm doing the thing, but then I sit back and I'm coming back into my feminine, for those of you that work more with energetics, and I allow myself to receive. Because can you imagine you open the door for someone, you're like, come into my house. And then you literally stay standing in the door. You're like, why are you not in the house yet? Are you coming in? Are you coming in? Are you okay? Do you think the house is going to be nice? Do you want to return it? Like, what's going on? Why haven't you come in yet? They can't come in the door of your business because you keep asking them why they're not inside yet. You need to step back and give people space to actually step into their masculine, into their power, to say, I choose this. I want to invest in this. I'm not going to circle back 100 times to see if someone has filled in a link or not. They're mature adults. If they want something, people love buying things. People love shopping. They really want change, they will fill in that link. And if they don't, from a business partner perspective, they've already disqualified themselves, because if you can't even order your pack, then how do you think someone is going to be coachable or leading themselves or building an actual business? So we got to see people a little bit more in their genius, amazing human potential, in their ability to choose and take their power and to go for their dreams, and also empower them and give them that chance. Plant the seeds, water them, give them sunshine, give them all the love and goodness. And then also trust the process. Let the process be the process. And then over time, everything comes. There's just, your success is inevitable. It's going to happen. But it's that staying power. It's the compound effect on every area. It's who you become in the process. It's a big piece of trust and ability to lead yourself. So with that, I kept you a few minutes over. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. If there's anything that you have questions about, just message me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you can find me. Thank you so much for this, and have an amazing week.